Today on Profs Huddle, we've reached the halfway point of the baseball and softball seasons, and things have shaped up pretty well for our profs.
We also put the spotlight on a Rowan senior and an alumnus sportscaster who gives us some insight on calling games for the MLB. With that, let's get ready to huddle.
Header towards the net, it's in! Leary throws it down.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Profs Huddle. I'm Alex Braddock.
And I'm Joshua Ticino. Now, Alex, the profs have been very busy since the last time we huddled up, and I'm not going to lie, I'm running out of patience. I want to see what our profs have been up to these last few weeks.
And for that, we'll go to the softball team who traveled Saturday to New Jersey City University to take on the Gothic Knights in a doubleheader. We'll start in game one, top of the second inning. Corey Haig with a hit into center field to score the first 2 runs of the game for the profs. Now 4-0 in the top of the second. Peyton McNair hits one into left field to add another one on for Rowan. And the bats were starting to heat up for the brown and gold. Still top of the second now, 8-0. Freshman Kat Thomas singles up the middle to make it 9-0. And we're still in the second inning, still 2 outs. Rebecca Lombardo bloops one into left that would score another, making it 10-0. Continuing the domination into the fourth, Peyton McNair again hits one to deep center to add on to the profs' lead as she would advance to second. The Gothic Knights got one in the bottom of the fourth as Dolce Almonte hits one into right field, but it wouldn't be enough as the profs defeated the Gothic Knights in game 1 of the doubleheader, 13-1. Kelly Duffy gets the win, allowing just 1 run on 4 hits in this one.
Duffy proves to be a true leader out there for this prof softball team, and Alexis Sacamano decided it was her turn to dominate the Gothic Knights in game 2. The cloudy afternoon continues as the profs look to remain undefeated in the NJAC. Top of the first, Corey Haig gets a wild pitch that allows Sonia Sharma to score the first run. Next up, top of the second, Mariah Waisaki hits a home run in left center field and brings in 3 runs for the profs. Haig follows it up with a single that trips up the Gothic Knights and allows for 2 more runs for the brown and gold. Next inning, Waisaki singles to shortstop and brings Brianna Bryant home and the profs lead to 7. Peyton McNair wraps up Rowan's at-bat with a 2 RBI single to center field. The profs, not taking their foot off the gas, get another 2 RBI single, this time by Waisaki that brings up the profs to 11. The profs shut out the Gothic Knights in game 2 of the doubleheader and advanced to 12-4 before taking on Stockton University yesterday afternoon. After sweeping Stockton, the profs have a winning record of 14-4.
Rowan's baseball team has been off to a fire start to the season, and while the offense has been an absolute torch, one of the profs' top aces has taken this pitching staff to new heights this season. After his senior season was cut short, starting pitcher Drew Ryback has been one of the best pitchers in the NJAC in his second go-around at a last hurrah. Our very own Zaire Weaver brings us more.
Today we will have an interview with senior Drew Ryback and how he had his final profs baseball season taken away last spring, but was lucky enough to be given another year of eligibility by the NCAA. I will also speak to Ryback about how he reacted to last season being cut short and how his preparation has been for this season.
It definitely, it hit hard. We only played 6 games. Our team was playing really well, and, it was cut short. And actually, I had some lucky connections. I met this guy, Jim Steele, who he was a strength coach at Penn for 20 years, professional powerlifter. And he really changed my life as far as the strength training. And then, the mental things he taught me are unbelievable.
And so far, has it been troublesome for you and your teammates during the season because of the pandemic, involves of COVID testing and following protocol?
Honestly, I think we've done it. We've done a good job. It's definitely something that's annoying, but it's the same as everyone else. I think we're making the most of it. Honestly, I think it's getting to a point where it feels pretty normal out here. We're just happy to be back here, regardless of what we have to follow.
And what were your goals coming into the season, knowing that you were going to actually have eligibility?
More than anything, I'm just happy to be a part of the team, and some of these guys are my best friends. It's great to compete. I love competing and coming out and trying to win. But more importantly, I'm just happy to be out here with these guys, give them one more shot to try and win something.
Drew Ryback is certainly helping his team get some wins with a 1.98 ERA this season and 29 strikeouts so far. With the way things are going for Ryback this season, the sky's the limit, and if he finishes as strong as he started, he will certainly be remembered by everyone and he will be more than satisfied of his accomplishments. We will keep you updated on the Profs Huddle.
The Profs, with Ryback on the mound, took on New Jersey City University in Glassboro this past Friday for the second game of their season series. The Gothic Knights failed to find answers for the absolute offensive clinic the Profs put on in the afternoon. The Profs keep the energy flowing as they look to close out the afternoon and sweep the Scarlet Raiders in Glassboro. Profs pitcher Donald Zellman strikes out Michael Messino for a strong start. A miscommunication between the Scarlet Raiders allows Alex Kokos room to run home to give the Profs an early 2-0 lead. Jared Marks hits a nice single to get on base to keep the Profs' confidence high in the bottom of the second. Jumping now to the top of the sixth, a costly mistake for first baseman Victor Cruz allows the Scarlet Raiders a run. Zellman closes out the inning. Profs would score 4 more runs in this bout to make it 9-1. Zellman finishes off his complete game. Here's the call from Alex Braddock on Rowan Radio.
Pitch from Zellman. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Ball game. Donald Zellman.
This win brings the Profs record to 8-2 on the season, currently undefeated in the NJAC Conference and at home.
Happy to see Rowan Baseball continue to take a step forward and continue to look like a top team in the NJAC. They take on Rutgers Camden this upcoming Thursday and Friday. We now turn to look at our Alumni Spotlight, looking back at how some former Rowan University members' careers have blossomed in the world of sports. Today, we take a look at John Sadak, who throughout his career has been an integral part of Westwood One's coverage of a variety of sports, doing play-by-play commentary, and earlier this year was given the opportunity of a lifetime. Our very own Devin Baird has more on Sadak in the Profs Huddle Alumni Spotlight.
Class of 2000 and Master's Graduate of 2003, John Sadak is our first member of our Alumni Spotlight for his recent introduction to the Reds broadcast booth. Earlier this month, Sadak had the distinct honor to join Baseball Hall of Famer Barry Larkin inside the Reds television broadcasting booth, and Sadak enjoyed every second of it.
It all started at Rowan. I mean, I fell in love with sports as a kid because my dad was a sports fan. My mom's a sports fan. I grew up in a sports household. My dad played briefly, collegiately, Division III, actually, at Lehman College in New York. Was a very good high school athlete. I was a terrible athlete. So my love of sport really came out of fandom. I chose Rowan in large part because the college radio station had just been named National Station of the Year during my senior year of high school. Of the traditional major sports that I have the most experience in, I think the hardest is to do baseball on the radio. So I'm now lucky enough I'm doing it on TV for the Reds, but I think baseball on the radio, 15 minutes maybe is some kind of actual physical action, ball in play, pitcher winding. The rest is you. Yeah, and it wasn't the final result that you would want, but I thought overall it went incredibly smoothly. We had a 3-man booth, which is its own challenge, particularly when one of our analysts wasn't in the same room as us due to social distancing for COVID. So trying to avoid stepping on each other is its own challenge. And but I had so much fun, and the feedback has been tremendous. To be honest, I found it easier, smoother, looser than I ever would have envisioned. From D3 and even from some levels of the minors that can be very similar. I would argue that doing it, at a small college or minor league level in many ways is harder. There's less information. There's less historical backstory. And even if there is historical backstory, your audience doesn't necessarily know it. Where when you're doing it at the highest level, the Reds fan is forever going to know more about the Reds than I can possibly know. No matter how much I research, no matter how much I read, no matter how many people I talk to, I will run into people literally on the street in front of the stadium who will just innately know more because they experienced it. I'm not built for that 9-to-5 life. If I had to, certainly I would do whatever I need to do to provide for my family, but I just love calling games.
John Sadak is a true role model for aspiring broadcasters everywhere. Congratulations to him on his success. Before we break from the huddle, let's take a quick look at what's coming up the next 2 weeks for the Profs. After winning both games in the doubleheader against Stockton, Profs softball matches up against Ramapo College on the 17th, TCNJ on the 20th, and Rutgers Newark on the 24th. Baseball has a busy 3 days as they take on Rutgers Camden twice and William Patterson in a doubleheader, but fortunately for the Profs, they will be defending the Borough. They will then receive a bit of respite before taking on TCNJ on the 22nd. Track and field will be hosting the Bill Fritz Invitational on the 17th before traveling to Philadelphia for the Penn Relays on the 24th. Lastly, we have lacrosse, who will be on their road for the 2 of their last 3 to wrap up the season as they head to Kean University on the 17th, Stockton on the 20th, and finish the season at home against Montclair State University on the 24th. That'll do it here for this episode of Profs Huddle. I'm Joshua Ticino.
And I'm Alex Braddock. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you next time when we get back in the huddle.